I don't even know where to begin because honestly, last night felt like a little bit of a dream. I talked yesterday a little bit about just the rise of not the rise really, but the return maybe of players who show that as skill, this big a game of skill. Players who show that 1v1 quality and who are able to just be decisive in those moments. And of course, my expectation today was to see, Lamine Yamal really have, of course, yet another good performance. But what I saw today, oh my goodness, what I saw today, the boy's unreal. The boy is literally unreal. This is a player who, we're talking, had an incredible Euros at age 16, 16, 17. I call it 16 really. Barely turned 17 during the tournament. At 16, it has been able to shoulder the load. That was one of the most chaotic versions of Barcelona that we've seen in a long time, with the whole liver situation and the financial situation that they've been in out of the Camp Nou. Xavi having a lot of what's it called turmoil in his time over there. That's just one of the most chaotic teams I've ever seen. It's almost like you would compare the situation to Man United at this current time, and he was able to navigate not just through that chaos, but to thrive in that chaos, to take the responsibility, to show the burden in that chaos. It's not supposed to be a Lamine Yamal video, but what else can it be? What else can it genuinely be? The boy is just, like he said himself, fearless. I have it in my notes over here, of course, 1v1, 1v2, 1v3 in some situations, It didn't matter what Inter Milan threw at him. And when I see Lamine, it reminds me of maybe, an elite scoring wing in the NBA, or, a true number one right receiver in the NFL. Someone who, it doesn't really matter how many bodies you throw at him, how many looks you throw at him, how many sort of scenarios and situations you try to put him in, it's not going to faze him. And most times, you're going to come out second best in that situation. The real shame of the matter is that Lamine is only 17 years old, because you could see that he kind of gassed out towards the end. Had he maybe been been more of an adult, you're talking about 21, 22, DeMarco might have been out for the halftime. I hope he really had some oxygen in halftime, because having to deal with, that repercussion of Yamal again and again and again, the percussive actions again and again and again, the decisive actions again and again and again, just being able to really be that factor for Barcelona in a situation, especially where it was really chaos. He started the game well, and Barcelona started the game well, and, if I look at my notes over here, of course, they established control really, really early. Of course, they conceded also really, really early from the Thuram goal. But with the way they play, with the high line, you expect that they're going to give the opponent, a lot of opportunities in the game. And naturally, that's what happened. Of course, like I said with the Arsenal game, they conceded quite early. So you'd rather prefer to concede early, have a lot of time left in the game to really kind of, walk the opponent down. Inter are really good at finding the longer passes out of pressure, because they were not going to try to play through necessarily the Barca press. What they were looking to was commit some of the Barca press, maybe commit them to press with 3, sometimes maybe even 4. And if they could get them to commit with 3 or maybe 4 players, find the longer, in terms of maybe just baiting them with shorter passes. Inter Milan's build-up is not necessarily looking to penetrate, a bit more like Barcelona's. It's more so to bait the pressing team into maybe if you go in the 1v1 situation, if you're pressing man, how can we disorganize that man? How can we get you in a sort of zone whereby maybe Lautaro is free, or whereby Thuram is free? Find the longer ball into those guys. They knew that they were going to have a lot of success from certainly Lautaro in terms of his hold up and link up play. Losing him in the game was, I wouldn't say the biggest blow necessarily, but of course it's a huge blow to what they wanted to do. Long ball into him, win the first ball. Barcelona, of course, in that situation, were likely to squeeze and try and contain that wide area. And of course, if they were able to find that link pass, maybe to Barella who was supporting or Çalhanoğlu who was supporting, could they find that quick switch to the underloaded areas? Could they find that quick switch to the fullback? Inter Milan looking to push maybe with four, your two strikers and of course your wing backs were really aggressive in supporting. Dumfries had himself hell of a game, 2 goals. Crazily, an assist also, and could have even had a second assist actually. Yeah, Dumfries could have been involved in 4 goals, one of the rule for offside, or a situation of rule for offside, really briefly. So, just in terms of how they want to approach the game, in contrast to what Barcelona wanted to do defensively, was a really good kind of clash of styles that we had. One team certainly bypassing the press, looking to get or attack that last line as quick as possible, and then attack that underloaded area as quick as possible also as well with the quick switch. And when they had success doing that, it wasn't very often in the game that they were able to settle in possession, get on the ball, go forward. But when they could do that, they were very effective at putting Barcelona under pressure. And it'll be interesting to see what sort of adaptations. Now, of course, I don't expect too much because Hansi Flick has been very adamant playing this way. It's got them a Copa del Rey final, top of La Liga, and at least certainly poised to make a Champions League final. So when you're looking at a team who's ready to take that kind of risk, in order to establish itself and play a game that supports the strength of its players, then you have to be. It's admirable. And of course, I think it's reflected in all the players. You see it in Rafinha, where he's going to try and take shots from. You see it in Pedri, where he wants to receive the ball. You see it, in Pau Cubarsí, and how aggressive he is in terms of of pushing that last lineup. But certainly, you see it in not more so than Lamine Yamal. I mean, that first half it almost felt like a religious experience, time after time, to the point where they completely abandoned the whole left-hand side. You have Rafinha, a 50 GA player, on the whole other side, and they abandoned it completely, went completely away from what he could offer and what he had to do, because on that right-hand side, you had a phenom, a guy who, situation after situation, 1v1, 1v2, 1v3, not only is he having success in situations, he's enjoying himself. He's having fun. He's not feeling the pressure of a Champions League semi-final. He's not feeling the pressure of trying to get Barcelona back into a position that they haven't been since 2015. He doesn't feel that weight of expectation or that burden. He enjoys it. He thrives in it. And when you think, about how preternatural his ability to perform consistently at the highest of levels, it's frightening to think, exciting for some of us, of course, what sort of player he's going to be in the next just 5 years. In just 5 years, he's going to be 22 years old. Scary to think. The World Cup coming up next year, how much impact is going to have there? How is it going to make his name and mark his name in world football even more over there? 100 appearances at just 17. Messi didn't do that. Ronaldo didn't do that. I mean, if you want to talk about 17-year-olds who have absolutely changed the game or made such a phenomenal impact in the game, I can only think of Pelé. World Cup winner 17, hat-trick in the finals or quarterfinals, so semi-final, hat-trick, and a brace in the final. I can only think of Pelé. As someone so young, in a moment so big, not just to rise to the occasion, but to rise far above the occasion, to become the occasion. I cannot call this the Lamine Yamal breakout party because I watched Spain do this still in the Euros, and for me, that was the breakout party. That was the level. Don't get too much higher than that, and he was for me the best player in the tournament. So when you are able to show that sort of quality and maturity, of ingenious to your game at that level, these other sorts of competitions just become par for the course. And at 17, again, I have to say, at 17, par for the course, Champions League semi-final. Crazy. Like I said, it's not supposed to be a Lamine Yamal video. It's supposed to be a recap, a recap. I still feel like I'm dreaming. It's supposed to be a recap. Hey, okay, watch the game. definitely made notes, definitely made notes in terms of like, okay, you could see that so in some areas they'll miss for Lewandowski, missing Lewandowski, I would say sorry. Some situations where Ferran Torres took maybe a touch or two before getting the shove, and he was very good. He had a good game, Ferran Torres, but some moments early in the first half where I thought, if that ball falls to Lewa, he's not taking a touch over there. It's first time. He's putting the goalkeeper under pressure. He's hitting before he sets. There's a better chance he's probably scoring a goal over here. That is the issue, maybe, with not having Lewandowski around, is that some of these chances that they're creating, some of these half chances they're creating, Ferran Torres is not necessarily going to be the player who's going to finish off, enough of them, or put the Inter Milan defense under enough pressure. Certainly physically, when you think about dealing with someone like Bastoni, or he really, of course, had that physical profile. So you definitely want someone who's going to occupy him similarly, and Lewandowski does so. Also, his ability to drop into spaces and help in the link-up of play really cause chaos, or let me not say chaos per se, but certainly disruption, or at least a little bit of confusion, or at least it puts the defense in a situation where they have to kind of make a decision between, do we step up and put pressure on Lewandowski when he's dropping off and create the space in behind that they want? When you have Lamine Yamal on the wings, when you have Rafinha on the other wing, it's a conundrum for sure for defenses. But without that, with more having Ferran Torres who wants to more so running behind, it's a little bit easier, certainly for an Inter Milan defense that was very ready to sit in a 5-3-2, 4-4-2 situationally, be compact, double up in the wide areas. In Lamine's case, triple up in the wide areas. And when they scored the goal early, you thought, okay, it could be a long day for Barcelona. When they got the second goal, you thought, oh, what's going on here? I mean, Barcelona have had all the ball, had all the possession, dominated the whole game, and now they are finding themselves 2-0 down at home. But have no fear, because Mr. 304 is going to put the cape on. And when he does, all you can do is sit back and watch. All you can do is sit back and everyone knows how much I love Pedri. I have barely mentioned him today, and he had a good game. But why did he have a good game? Because what does Pedri do best? Find Yamal. What does Pedri do best? What does anybody in Barcelona? I really want to see that passing map. I should probably look for it. That passing map between Pedri and Yamal over the season. I bet you he's played over, I don't know, over 5,000 passes to Pedri. It's exaggeration maybe, but I'm sure I'm not far off. But, I mean, the key was just amazing. Barcelona, of course, had issues dealing with the crosses, with the corners. Corners, set pieces, of course, height discrepancy being an issue for them. So you saw how much success Denzel Dumfries was having. DeMarco probably would have had as much success if he could, breathe. He probably spent half time getting oxygen. Being able to go up and down is easier when you don't have Lamine Yamal on your wing, torching you, making you think, how is it that a footballer of this age is so advanced in his understanding of space, so advanced in his understanding of how to navigate those spaces in tight situations, how to draw a defender, how to freeze the defender, how to pause the defender. His ability to create separation when he's being marked by two players. He loves. It's almost like he prefers to have two defenders on him than one. And think about a team like Barcelona. You want to create that imbalance for your team, because if you go 2v1 and he beats those two players, which he does frequently enough, you have a numerical superiority somewhere else. That's not the kind of team you want to give advantages already. They're already better than you on the ball. They're already superior to you on the ball. Why do you want to give them the advantage? But you don't give them the advantage. They take it with their skill, with their ability, with their technique. And you saw today, yes, the physicality of the game plays a big part. I have mentioned it many times and I will continue to do so. It's a key part of the game. But it's a game of skill. It's a game of technique. It's a game of intelligence. And when you marry those things with a fearlessness and a joy for the game, because that's what I would most describe what I saw from Lamine yesterday. Joy. Certainly that first half, a joy. The moment had arrived. This is what players sort of maybe dream of and dream for and wait for, to be in these games. And so when that moment arrives for him, he's not overawed by it, he's not overwhelmed by it. He seizes the moment. Okay, second half, what he was a little bit more tired, a little bit more fatigued. Araujo came on and they moved Inigo out wide to deal with crosses a little bit better, but still didn't have that same effect. Probably wanted to just try and get those guys wider, be more 1v1, better 1v1 players in those situations, try and get the 1v1 defenders at least in those situations, but still really didn't change too much in terms of being able to deal with the crosses. Inter either crossed earlier, or were able to use deeper runs from the midfield players to try and really create a difficult situation or more difficult situation to read for the I won't call them fullbacks, but for the Barcelona defenders who were in the wide areas. You also saw that Barcelona were attacking a bit more slowly. Not slowly, but more patient in build-up. This is where Pedri, of course, comes in, ability to dictate the tempo of the game. Fatigue is set in. They just played a Copa del Rey final, a very intense Copa del Rey final a couple of days ago. So the fatigue factor is there also too. Can we have a bit more control in the game? Can we build our attack? Can we slow down the amount of time that we are in transition? Because it also makes it easier for us that when we do lose possession to be able to squeeze. And Barcelona were very good in squeezing. What they did better was squeeze that outlet pass. Whether it was to Ram or whether it was to Lautaro or whoever it was to, they were a lot better in squeezing that outlet pass, putting it under pressure, winning the ball in good areas, and looking to recycle and build again. So it really, even for Inter Milan in the first half, what they were resorted to do was they were defending at more so. I said it in the 5-3-2 situational 4-4-2. At some point, they were going into a 4-2-4, mainly because they wanted to put more pressure on Barcelona's circulation of possession, so they couldn't get the ball to Yamal. It's like, okay, we can't even stop him. We have to stop him at the source. Before he even gets the ball, we need to put pressure on that. And that's where, of course, the quality of a Frankie de Jong in possession or a Pedri in possession, those guys who can receive in those tight spaces, who can, just keep the tempo like metronome, just keep things ticking over really, really smoothly, but still be able to find those decisive passes, find those aggressive passes into Lamine, find him in space, find him in positions where he is able to set himself up and attack either in motion. Of course, he's one of those players who, with an endless imagination, can beat you from a dead stop, can beat you on the move, can beat you going inside, can beat you going outside, can beat you on the byline, can beat you on the touchline. I mean, it really is. A second half, like I said, he tired out a bit more in the second half. He still give him a few moments over there, but of course, if I'm Hansi Flick, I can't bring him off. Someone who, at any given moment, can burst into life and just change the game for me at the drop of a hat. I can't bring him off. And you saw Hansi again, that braveness. Lamine, less defensive responsibility, push up a little bit higher, and the boy's still working hard. But push up a little bit higher. You be that the highest point for us, and get the ball to you in the outlet. We know the fear it causes, and even some of that, just the threat of him, because Barcelona attacked more centrally in the second half, and that's just because Inter Milan were ready to commit and overcommit to defending the wide areas. Just the threat, that gravity that he has. I mean, it's crazy. They were ready to overcommit to the side of a 17-year-old boy simply because they knew that 1v1, maybe even 2v1, it was not going to be enough. And if I talk about that fearlessness from the Barcelona team, again, even going 3-2 down, you've made a fantastic comeback, you're pushing for the goal, you're having control, and then against run of play again, you go 3-2 down. No panic. No panic. They continue to play their game. This is the game they want to play. And they're ready to take whatever comes with that, whatever risk comes with that, whatever danger comes with that. That is where, things like more than a club really begin to resonate, because it is those ideals that guide the team, not the situation. Those ideals guide the team. They are the principles by which they stand by. And you see it in every one of those players. A young team, a fearless team, but a team that believes absolutely in their quality and what it is that they do. And, in the second leg, I'm just super excited to see what they have in store. I can talk about what adjustments I expect to see made. I don't think they're going to change with the high line. It's brought them this far. I don't see an adjustment over there. I think Inter Milan are going to be a lot better in terms of maybe looking for the outlet ball, but have a few more ideas on how to build a bit more. I'm sure they'll have a lot more possession at home also as well. Not that much more because Barcelona are known to monopolize that wherever they go, but I'm sure they'll be able to play into the game a little bit more. Um, it's just going to be an exciting game. It's going to be an exciting game, and I for one, I'm just in awe of not just the player, not just the performance, but the fact that we're gonna have this for hopefully the next 15 years.